So before I close out tonight's show, I want to take a moment to reset the energy in the room because we had some heavy headlines earlier. Sometimes we need a reminder that good still exists, that people still care, and that God is still moving, even in the quiet moments. And this is one of those stories. There are more than 100,000 people in this country right now who are waiting on an organ transplant. And every day, they say at least 13 people lose their lives waiting for that call that never comes. For one woman in Memphis, Tennessee, that wait was supposed to be 5 to 7 years just to receive a kidney. 5 to 7 years. But her story didn't go that way because somewhere else there was another woman, a wife, a mother of 3, a woman with a full life, responsibilities, and everything on her plate. And one day she saw a post on Facebook. She said, "Hey, what's going on with this?" It wasn't about somebody that she knew. It wasn't about family. It was a total, complete stranger. And something in her spirit said, "I could do that." She went through weeks of testing, uncertainty, and prayer, and then the call came back. She was a match. So in August, she donated one of her kidneys to someone that she had never met. Meanwhile, the woman on the other side of that story, she had been living with chronic kidney disease, high blood pressure, and she was on the transplant list for 18 months. And at one point, she had made peace with the possibility that her time might be limited. She even chose to live her life fully instead of starting dialysis because to her, if she couldn't live, it wasn't living at all. So I'm gonna pull up that video. Let me get back to that. There it is. Oh, add this to the page.
Living organ donation, a critical solution to a problem facing tens of thousands of Americans.
Every day, 13 people die waiting for an organ transplant. As a living organ donor, you can donate one kidney, part of your liver, and certain other organs and tissues.
Living organ donation is critically important because that precious gift of life is literally the difference between life and death for people on the waiting list. The wait for a deceased donor kidney is far too long.
For a patient in Memphis, Tennessee, doctors told her she would have to wait 5 to 7 years for a kidney. But she says her prayers were answered a year and a half after being placed on the waiting list.
Reporter Kim Clark shows us how a Facebook post connected two strangers and led to a life-saving donation.
So I let God lead me.
Jenny Joyner is a busy wife and mother of 3.
We have 4 dogs and a cat. So yeah, my oldest is a senior, my youngest is 10, and my middle child has Down syndrome. So we have lots going on.
Especially since Jenny embarked on an unexpected medical journey spurred on by social media.
Tell me how this all came about for you to decide to be a donor, because you didn't donate for someone you knew.
Facebook and God, to be honest. So a friend of mine posted on Facebook about the opportunity to be a living donor, and she knew someone who needed a kidney. So for whatever reason, that day I was like, I could do that.
After weeks of compatibility testing at the Methodist Transplant Institute, word came Jenny had a match. In August, she donated one of her kidneys to a complete stranger. She never met the recipient, but she did get a letter from them. Jenny knows now Stacy Hobson wrote that letter.
I just thanked her from the bottom of my heart because I just feel it's no amount of words that I could say to thank her enough. I'm like, if she don't know, she's my new best friend. She got a new sister.
Stacy suffered from chronic kidney disease and high blood pressure and had been on the transplant wait list for 18 months. An avid traveler, she decided to forego dialysis against her doctor's wishes and just try to live life to the fullest.
But I'm like, if I can't do the things that I love, it's not living for me. And he told me, you're not going to be here. And I made peace with God.
The same month Jenny began testing, Stacy was traveling through Greece when she said she suddenly felt at peace.
I just prayed. I asked God. I said, Lord, you know what I want. You know what I want. I pray that my will aligns with yours.
Shortly after returning from her trip, Stacy got the call from Methodist.
You have a match. And I was like, huh? And I literally screamed.
Stacy headed into her August transplant surgery with a smile on her face and love in her heart for the person whose selfless act likely saved her life.
I've been praying, and I just felt like it was God that heard my prayer and placed it on her heart.
Stacy, I want you to meet Jenny Joyner.
In early November, Stacy and Jenny met for the first time.
I hope you're doing well.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm great.
Both fully recovered and back to their normal lives.
It is perfect.
Oh, good.
It is perfect.
Now forever connected by something greater than them, and yet no bigger than the hollow of his hand.
If I had 3 kidneys, I would give another one.
If God has placed it on your heart, because it may not be for everyone, but if it is, then do it, because you just don't know the difference that you would make in someone else's life.
There are more than 100,000 people on the national transplant waiting list, and 85% need a kidney.
Experts say a kidney from a living organ donor not only helps decrease a recipient's wait time on the list and their need for dialysis, but research has shown they have better outcomes than those receiving organs from deceased donors.
And most living organ donors go on to live active, healthy lives.
However, living donors sometimes face barriers such as insurance discrimination or the potential for out-of-pocket expenses that are not reimbursed. Some states have taken steps to help limit those costs. You can learn more about registering and the support for living donors.
Yeah. I thought that was a heartwarming story, although I will say, Rain, I gotta be selfish some way, somehow. I don't know. I would have to pray about it. I really would have to pray about it. I don't know if I could be a donor, a living donor in that manner. I would really have to play. It would really need to be on my heart. Now, a close family member, of course, especially if it's life-saving, but a complete stranger, don't judge me, y'all. Don't judge me. So I will say, now see this right here. This is not what I mean when I say not everything is broken, because in a world where people argue, divide, and tear each other down, there are still people who will say, I may not know you, but I'll show up for you. And this brings me back to when I talked about people supporting you, and then people supporting you more than your friends do. And that's what gets me the most. This is not about recognition. It wasn't about attention. She didn't even know the woman she was helping. She just felt led. So I'm going to be honest with y'all. Some of us are waiting on miracles, but we don't realize that sometimes we are somebody else's miracle. Sometimes it's not about having everything figured out. It's about listening when something pulls at your spirit and says, move. Because look at what happened here. One woman prayed, another woman answered, and even without knowing it. So that's alignment, that's faith, and that's purpose. So tonight, if nothing else, let the story remind you that kindness still exists, sacrifice still matters, and God is working through people every single day. And maybe, just maybe, the next time something is placed on your heart, you won't ignore it, because you never know whose life could be changed just by you saying yes. All right, that is your soul reset for tonight. Take that with you, sit with it, and let it remind you of who we still have the ability to be. I am going to read some of these comments. Into Deep said, my uncle was on dialysis for years before they got his kidney. This is a great story. Absolutely. Absolutely. Classic said, kidney disease and high blood pressure are completely avoidable. She needs to change her eating, or the new kidney is doomed. I'd only give a kidney to somebody changing their ways. Miles said, yeah, great story. Into Deep said, facts, classic. And Into Deep said, I wouldn't judge you. My uncle was mad at me for years for not giving my kidney to him, but I also watched him drink himself into oblivion. Absolutely. This is one of the reasons you have to have discretion when you do, because not only are you, yes, you may be helping somebody, but are they going to value it and care for it better than you would? So you're giving somebody else another chance at life while sacrificing yours too.